right, we're live. What's up, everybody?
What
It's your
up?
boy. No. What's up, everybody? It's your boy. Anyway, uh, all right, we're back. A little bit late. Had to calibrate and make sure we're on the right page to make sure we add the most value we possibly can and not give you any fluff. We basically get all the fluff out. So today's podcast is about persistence and sticking with something you know you want to do, even though you're going to get a lot of sidetracking, curveballs, things that look better and faster to you to get where you're trying to go. They're going to be big and shiny, and you're going to believe everything you hear. And a lot of times, you'll jump ship, go that way, it'll fail, and you'll never realize that the first part, which is work, it takes a lot of work to get wherever you're trying to go. And no matter which way you go, it's going to take a lot of busting ass, a lot of failure. You're not going to get there as fast as you think. And if you do, you're a freaking little, pink unicorn. So, persistence, like sticking with what you're supposed to do, and I'll let Will kick it off.
Good evening. Welcome to the Frequency Control Show. Persistence. Uh, we just wanted to get into, especially, I kind of want to get into just once you clearly define what you want and you uh, have figured out your next logical hustles to get to where you want. Um, the more persistent you are on your actions, the more exciting the path is starts to unfold in front of you without even doing a whole lot of action. Um, I've been fighting this action so much a little bit for a while, thinking, not thinking, just I've started doing things on my path, and then things started showing up. And this is why we're talking about the subject, because I recently had something show up a couple of months ago that I completely just stopped everything I was doing to go and do it, thinking that it was going to get me where I want to go quicker, without really realizing at first that it was. I mean, we say this, we broke down the same thing 3 podcasts in a row, but this is how important it is. Because when you persistently are taking action towards what you want, and things start showing up along your path, and you're open to see them, the more persistent you are, the more things will start getting revealed, and that's when your things really start getting exciting, just that much more exciting, and raises your belief that you can achieve your next main game or your next goal. This is just kind of what's going on in my life currently. Like, now that I've clearly defined what I want, I've been persistent on my actions. Now things that I weren't able to see how I was going to get to these certain points of what I want are starting to reveal themselves as of today. And I 100% believe that these things are starting to show up because I've been persistent in taking action towards what I want, and not taking any action, but taking the correct action, doing the right things long enough and consistently, meaning I've been persistent at it. Now more things are showing up, and that's just really exciting, knowing that the actions that I've been taking are starting to, the manifestations of what I want are starting to develop right in front of my eyes in not that much time. And this is an extremely exciting position to be in. And that's why this information is so important, because without this information, I wouldn't be able to see what's happening. I wouldn't be able to realize, hey, these things are coming along my path because of the persistent action I'm taking to get to what I want next. And now things are showing up on my path that are further down from where I'm actually currently ready to take action to achieve it. Like right now, I'm not quite ready to go and achieve it right now, but the opportunity is revealing itself to get to where I want to go. And I 100% believe it's because I've been doing the correct thing, the right things. Persistently. Now it's just a matter of long enough for it all to line up.
That's the tricky part. Is there's going to be a lot of like what you feel's better opportunities come your way, and you find yourself like thinking, "Oh, this is a way better situation. Drop everything you're doing and start over." And what I think about a lot of people I see run into this, and I can see are in conversation are like plagued by it. It's like, "Oh no, I'm going to do this because blah blah blah," and it's like, well, how does that work for you? Because based on results, how many results have you got based on just going with what you feel? What new feeling you're getting, the new vibe, and what I feel is for me. Well, are you getting a lot of results? Is that, I mean, because what I, from a, you know, outsider's perspective, it doesn't look like you have a lot of tangible, like real life results to say, yeah, I did this and I went for this, me and my buddy, or me and my friend, you know, and you kind of go, I'm not seeing a lot of value behind jumping ship every time something looks sweeter and better and the grass is greener. It's like a lot like relationships, you know. Grass is greener. You keep jumping to new girl to new girl to new girl, and then 6 months goes by and you're over that, and then another grass looks a little bit greener. You keep jumping ship, and it's like, yet at the end of the day, you say, no, 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 I'm gonna find the one. When the one person who's grinds it out, finds somebody, figures it out, sees that grass looks greener, and sees Miss Jones, and still just sticks with the script, eventually finds a better place. It's a slower path. It's not instant. It's not this magical thing. It takes hard work, you know, and it's a relationship with your goals and your dreams, you know, and that's much like with a woman you want to be with. Find out that past the honeymoon stage after 6 months to a year, it's now work and effort, because all that enthusiasm and magic and the stuff that drove you to do it in the beginning, which was the excitement, once that all dissipates, what keeps you going? And that's with the relationship. So same thing with a goal and a dream. There's this excitement when you find out this new thing that is your new calling. That's so fucking like dopamine rush, and it's so like, I gotta do this now, oh my god, and that'll drive you for at least 3 or 4 months. What do you do after that? What do you do after the rush and the that whole excitement of the new thing goes away? Look at me. I'm doing beats. I've been doing beats for 20 years now. It's like, where's that excitement? Like where, like now I just realized the persistence. I know yesterday I was finishing up some stuff. I have like a certain amount of beats I have to do a week to maintain the machine. And it's like, I found no like real, like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it's like, once I just go through the motions, eventually I kind of go, oh, this is pretty dope. I'm just banging out some dope shit. I know formulas now, so it's like real easy. So it's not as like motivation. It's not like, oh my God, I was inspired by the colors of paint, and so I decided to create this palette of sounds, and that were based on like this giraffe and shit. Like I'm not into that anymore. I don't care. It's like I know formulas. I get there, and then eventually I find in certain sounds I get it, but it's like there's just this persistence piece that keeps driving it forward until you find that new thing. But it's very easy to get a bunch of new angles to come at you. I've had plenty of jobs coming at me where I can make 200,000 right now a year, simply, easy, no problem. I'm going to being a district manager, and I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not my thing. And I have my wife banging down the door trying to get me to go do that because she thinks in that small box as the whole world does. And I'm thinking, no, I'm thinking a great life, and I gotta, at the end of the day, be accountable for this one life I have to live, and also accountable for my two seeds, for them to understand, what you can achieve in this one life, and what you can do in this one life, and how you should just go at whatever angle you want. You don't have to follow this path somebody planned out for you. That's massive to me. Like it's like on one end you go, yeah, I was very safe and I got my district manager job, made 200, did basically never saw my kids and my wife, but they ate well and lived in a beautiful home and had the best cars and the nicest things, and I was a slave until I died. Like that shit is like not my that's not my vibe. I don't give a shit like that. I know. One, I can make 10 times more than that, and I will make 100 times more than that. Count it. That's a Billy. It's like, so the bottom line is, like, no, I don't need to do that. Generating dollars is no problem. It's not being strapped for your time. This is your one time to go at life, at least in the physical form. As far as I know, I don't know shit, right? But so one of those things is stay consistent with whatever you're trying to do. Be persistent. Stick with the script, right? You had a vision. Well, stick with it till you see it through. Because if you keep jumping vision to vision to vision, that sounds like a nightmare to me. A bunch of different visions just randomly jumping around, like that's not a very good story. That's all over the place, and some people do, and some people find exactly what they need, and they get pulled along. But most of these people will tell you, and anybody in the industry, it's not about talent or whatever it is. It's always hard work. So even if you're not in a talent calling, everything's pretty much about hard work. They're like the best rappers chose not to be rappers anymore. They chose to do whatever, and then did whatever. The best singers chose, screw that, I'm gonna go get a regular job or go do what I've always wanted to be a nurse, And you think about that with like Beyonce, she wanted to be a nurse, and that was what would have made her happy. But then just kind of like her dad pushed her into music, and next thing you know, she just wrote it out and became the queen bee. But like at the same time, it's like persistence. It wasn't about talent. It was about persistence, staying consistent with what you're doing and seeing it through. And that person is the one that shows up, is the one that gets there. It's like, it's not the best hunter in the world, the most skilled hunter. Because if he doesn't show up every day, you could be the best shot on earth. But if you only go out to hunt one day a week and that deer never shows up, what's the point? But if you're like not a very good shot, but you go out every day and then there's a dumbass deer that doesn't even pay attention and is just too confident in like where he's at, you buck him and you get him. And it's not because you're talented, it's because you go out every day and you shot at 3 deers that week. Whereas the other guy had a marksman awesome shot, and that one day the deer didn't come out. So it's about consistency. It's about being there at the right time and sticking with what you're doing. So there's something to be said about like all these dream boards and shit. They don't mean anything if you don't stick with whatever you wrote on the board. Don't write it on the board and then do something else. That's freaking insanity. That is insanity. You're doing something different and expecting results of like something like it's just absolutely crazy. It's like, I'm gonna be a meteorologist, yet I'm gonna go here and work at Lowe's for 42 years. Like, well, how the fuck does that even equal that? The math is all wrong. So whatever it says on your vision board, whatever you're sitting there focused on, if you're focused on a Lamborghini and somehow just keep sticking working at the sawmill, that shit don't add up. You got to do something different than the sawmill. If the sawmill adds up to being your pension plan to where you're making 50,000 a year in a pension after you retire, that you better fucking have your bills paid and be able to save for 5 years or sorry 10 years and have your 500G to buy that Lambo. Like it doesn't add up. You gotta like find whatever it is you're doing and stick to that script. And I see far too often people like soon as they start to change their mind. I see like Berto, he'll start. I'm like, well, that doesn't quite equal what the hell you're talking about. So you're saying like I just had a friend hit me up today. Hey man, I'm ready to get back in the game. I got XYZ back, and I got this computer. It's like, well, your behaviors don't equal doing shit. I'm not sure. Like you can't just buy the computer and think that that's gonna make the music for you. You can't just show up every 3 years. Hey man, I'm serious, and then 3 years goes by, and they're like, hey man, I'm back in it, man. What's up? What? You mean like 3 years of dead time? You think somehow that type of hustle is gonna get you where the hell you're trying to go? You're sadly mistaken. So persistence is massive. It is absolutely very massive. You've got to stick with what you're doing, or you won't get shit done. That's just all there is to it.
There's a method called poke it with the stick method. Like when you define what you want, and you go and you try it a little bit, and then you don't see any results, and then you stop because you just you poked it with the stick. You just kind of almost like you come across like a roadkill in the road, and you poke it with the stick, see if it's alive or not, right? So you can't make a decision. I mean, you can do what you want, but you can't achieve your decisions if you make it and then go and just try it for a little bit. And then if you don't see any results, you just stop, or this doesn't work. You have to be persistent. You know how many times people get said no before they get a yes? Because they're persistent. Doing the right things long enough and consistently equals success. And what are the right things? Watch the next last three episodes, you'll get a picture where the right things are. But we'll go ahead and repeat them again, so they get implanted in your brain. Doing the right things. What are the right things? Things that make you feel good when you do them. If you're taking action and it feels like a burden, like I was doing, I jumped on this new thing thinking it was going to get me to where I want quicker, and I didn't enjoy any of it. And then I wasted 2 months. 3 months, 2.5 actually. 2.5 months I wasted on doing something I thought was going to get me there quicker. And that's not how it works. That's not usually how it works. So then, and now I was like, okay. And everything I liked about that, what I did like about that, I was already doing. Like I said, past 3 podcasts. These are, doing the right things. And now that I'm doing the right things that I've already started and I'm enjoying doing them, now magically, as of today, more things are showing up on my path of where I'm trying to go, what I'm trying to do. Today, a new thing showed up. Like something that I couldn't have pictured when I made that decision. I couldn't have pictured something like this happening when I made the decision of what I wanted because I don't know how. I just know what I want. But because I've been persistent and because I realized this new thing I don't enjoy doing, so I need to check this because I don't enjoy doing this. So I need to be careful with my time here. And then I was able to be in that moment and reevaluate what that was that I started chasing, and the what I love most about what I was doing, I was already doing, but didn't really enjoy the process of what I needed to do for it to actually achieve what I wanted. It's going to take time too, but I don't enjoy doing it. So how's that really going to work out for me? So now I'm back to doing what I enjoy doing, the right things. And now that I'm starting to be more persistent and doing it longer, now new things are showing up on my path, revealing where I'm trying to go. And that's really exciting. And then it raises my belief. Like I was just telling Robert before we started, like, man, how much more action do I need to take towards this to see more? Or how much action do I need to take towards this for that to actually work out? Because now I'm doing the right thing, so it raises my belief, and now I even want to do more. Because today, new things are showing up on my path of what I'm trying to accomplish. Yet, technically, it seems like it's still far away. I can still see that I need to put in a lot more work to get there because I can only see what I'm doing. I have no idea what's going outside. That's why today, this random thing that I couldn't have seen working out when I made the decision is presenting itself. It's like, whoa. So this is a major thing. I'm talking about where I could live, and I mean, which is huge, right? And oh man, it's just that much more exciting. It raises my belief that much more that what I defined is it is coming. It's coming. What I want to accomplish is coming, and new things are coming along my path because I've veered back onto it. Actually, I never, I refocused. Wow, I'm just like, what more can I do? What else can I finish? And there's even more things that I can't even get to yet that will have my back on this down the road that I can see, but I just don't technically have the time to put the effort into it right now, but it's still there. And okay, I need to keep going so I can add that to this as well. But I got to get this to a certain point that it's kind of on autopilot to be able to maybe take on another load and back it up. And that's even more exciting. Like there's more stuff I have in backup to solidify what I want and be able to survive that way and continue growing and not go backwards. Even though I don't talk about what I don't want, but we need these examples, right? Yeah, so being persistent just solidifies things coming in on your path towards what you want. And it's amazing. It's really, I don't even know, how can you even go through life and achieve things if you don't have this information to be able to see, just take a look? It's mind-blowing, man. Like, I don't know how I can achieve the things I want, not being able to be awake because of this information, to even know I'm on a path and see the path and see that I got distracted and got back on it. And now more things are happening on my path that makes me more excited to keep going down this path and taking more action because it's freaking coming. And it's coming fast from what I believe. It's coming fast.
You see yourself like start to as you stay persistent with something, things do start to shape up. Like, for instance, I started saying persistence on persistent rather on beats, and I would find like people and opportunities come my way, and I would be like, at the time, like I had my son, and I let 6 7 years pass and not doing shit, but making little partial beats here and there whenever I felt the vibe and I felt like getting in the studio, like this little half-ass shit. And I still make dope little stuff, but like nothing big. And it was like opportunities would come, and I would just be like, I'm gonna miss those. I passed the Ox came, Illmind came into town, into Portland, and he's a big Grammy winner, Beyonce, and I was invited to this thing with these guys, and it's to share your music, what you're doing, what you got going on, like some hype desk, like I got this artist, that artist, I'm working with, I'm producing, and I didn't have any shit together, so I didn't make it, I didn't go because I was like, man, missed opportunity. And it was like, oh, he's coming, and I even, in fact, it's still on my board, Illmind contest the second, there's this thing to get in there, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna start making all these beats. I'm gonna start now. It's like if you start now, it's too fucking late. So like you need to have already started, and that's the real deal truth. Like start now, because if you start when you get the opportunity, you have missed the opportunity. So I find myself now like I got so many fucking beats done. I couldn't have fathomed the amount of beats I have done and stemmed and labeled and just perfect fucking shit. It's just clean sound. It's just amazing. And it's like now I have opportunities come my way, and it's like, no problem. I got this, that, here. Let me slang you a couple of these. Oh, you need some of those? No problem. I got that. No problem. I got that. Like it's like all day I got these products, and it was just being prepared because I stayed persistent, I stayed consistent, I stuck with what I was doing, and by doing that, when those opportunities did come, it moved it a lot faster. It's like I kept with the same thing, but those things started to shift a lot faster, and I was already ready, so I was really able to take advantage of those opportunities and flip them quicker. And even if they didn't turn into shit, I know it wasn't because I wasn't prepared. You know what I mean? That's the biggest thing is you get all these opportunities, you just like, but a lot of that wisdom for me came from knowing what it was like to fail or to give up halfway through. Like I was the first free beat website in the world, all fucking 100% free. And at one point I was like, screw this. This stuff costs too much every month. I got to pay these domain fees and all this shit I'm paying for. I'm like, I'm over it. Like, I'm like, can I keep paying for that? I don't like nobody ever buys anything. Screw this shit. Not realizing I was on the cusp of like, if I would have stuck that shit out, all these free beat guys that came after me are fucking multimillionaires right now. And I'm like, oh my god, if I would have just stuck with my shit. I did have a very stressful job that did totally, like every time I got in the studio, all I could think about was like the stress of that job. And that's my fault because I couldn't separate the two, and I should have been able to. But I didn't have that wisdom. I had never been in that experience in my life. But at the end of the day, man, staying persistent. So having that failure helped me understand, like, Rob, if you would have stuck with getbeatsforfree.com, would you have been somewhere else? Like, right now, I'm spending a lot of money in advertisement. I'm spending fucking, hell, $500 a month on just to keep my brand afloat. If not more. If not way fucking more. But just shit I can go off top of the head. And I'm going, damn, that's a big fucking payment. I could have a bitchin' ride, and I could have, like, I already have a bitchin' ride, but, like, I could have, like, something fucking else. I don't know, whatever else I want, but I'd rather have this. But my thing is, shitloads of money just to keep my memberships and my shit going and keep it going. Even like this, like if you, as dumb as you want to think this, like I got to pay for Zoom every month. I got to pay to fucking have all this new stuff going on, all the high end internet, so I can run the speeds of these live streams. And then at some point you go, well, nobody's watching my videos. It's like, yeah, they aren't. So fucking what? Some point they're gonna fucking watch them, and they're gonna find a fuck ton of material that is valuable and helpful to them. And if that's all that matters, that's all that you need to worry about. But if you're looking for a monetary compensation, it will turn into that as well. So like but I've learned the hard way. Whereas I said, fuck, I'm not gonna keep paying this. I'm not getting the return on this. I'm over it. And then find myself not doing something doper. Find myself just saying, I'm done. Okay, so you're just done? Like, so that's all you've got? That's all the eggs in the basket? That's all the prospects you have, and you're done, and now you're just going to watch some Netflix? Or what the fuck are you doing with your time then? Barbecue? Like, unless I was taking that money and spending it somewhere else to grow that business, I couldn't see doing that again. So it's like, just stick with it and stick with it long enough. They talk about this thing called 3 feet from gold. This guy digs for like 20 years. I'm just making shit up at this point, so just bear with me. The metaphor will be perfect. And digs for like 20 years. I'm just making a number up, and he's not getting gold. And he finally says, "Fuck this, man," and sells it to a guy who knows that area is good for some gold. And he's thinking, "This is pretty good. Yeah, I'll buy the mine." Buys it. The guy digs 3 feet, finds gold. The guy he sold it to. And all this guy had to do was dig 3 more feet, but he just gave up just a hair too early. And there's a slippery slope. You could stick with something too long and not realize the writing on the wall that you should just get out and start something else. But at the same time, man, most you motherfuckers who do back out are backing out within the first year. That's pathetic. Now, we're not saying you back out, don't back out after 10 years in the game. Sorry. At some point, it's like 10 years in the game, yeah, okay, back out. You clearly don't know what the fuck you're doing, but like the first year, 3 months, 6 months, like, you better be willing to do it. I find myself doing it too. It's been a month and a half since I really started driving these marketing funnels that I've been working on. And I'm already like, this is not paying me enough. I'm paying more out than I'm getting in. And then I'm going, Rob, man, calm the fuck down. Have some patience. It's been 1.5 months. Since February 14th. Like, are you serious? Like, you have got to, have some patience. So, that's for everybody, man. Persistence takes patience and consistency. So all those things are a marriage. It's a trifecta: patience, consistency, persistence. Stick with it. Stick with the script. Stick with it long enough. Few and far between any of you really make it to the real dangers of you stuck with it so long and like you were just blinded by your goals that you just didn't want to read the writing on the wall. Like, none of you guys make it that far. Most of you motherfuckers back out way, 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 way before anything could have even panned out. You guys will go fish and throw their fucking rod in or your line in, reel that line right back in and be like, oh man, no fucking fish, I'm out of here. Where if you just fish for 13 more seconds, you might have caught a fish. Most of you go out there like, I heard this fishing hole's good. You're fishing, you let it last a whole fucking 20 minutes. You're like, oh, this is bonk. Well, it takes patience, man. And consistency and persistence with fishing. Because that's what we're doing in life. You're fishing. Stick it out. Next thing you know, I caught 10 fish today. Oh my God, you caught 10 fish. The next guy goes to try to catch those 10 fish, and he's pissed because he didn't catch them in the first 10 minutes. And then he asks you, how did you catch those 10 fish? I should write a book. I'm dope. But the bottom line is, how'd you catch those 10 fish? Well, after the first 6 hours of fishing, I was pretty buzzed. I've been drinking Budweiser all day on my little boat. And then eventually, man, they started biting. and I caught 10 fish in 3 hours. You know, like, and the person goes, oh shit, so you waited 6 hours? I waited 25 minutes and was like, damn, this spot is bunk. Not realizing the guy that caught the fish put in that 6 hours out there of catching nothing. He's got a sunburn on his face, his nose is peeling, he's buzzing, but he caught enough fish to feed his whole family and give his cousin and another couple people some extra fish for them to eat. You know, people think that when they see people with the fruits of their labor, that they got there quick. And you know, the more and more I follow like some of my favorite artists, I'm watching like I'm into hip hop hella, but anyway, but it's like the evolution of hip hop. Watch this series, right? And it's like you're watching this to these guys, and you're like, oh yeah, they just got on like right away because they're so young. It's like, no, this guy wrote for a guy in the back of the scenes. I was watching that like Goody Mob with Outkast. They were all together on the front of that thing, but they said we're just gonna keep writing for Outkast and hope we get our shot. So 2 or 3 years later, of these guys already being famous, they finally get their shot to become something, and CeeLo Green becomes one of the biggest artists in the world. But it's like it took all those years, and a lot of people want the fruits of that labor, but don't want to put all the years CeeLo Green or Big Sean, who wrote for like 6-7 years for fucking Kanye before he even got on. 2 years before Kanye would even call him back after the first time they were in the studio together. You know, like all these years of time, most people give up. They're like, I've been doing this for 3 months. I'm done. It's not working out. It's like these guys you see winning, you have to look at the whole picture, the whole timeline of what they've went through to get there. Jeff Bezos, you got to look at, he had a frickin' spray painted sign that said Amazon.com on the wall. His banner, he couldn't even afford a real dope banner. He spray painted Amazon.com on the banner. You know what I mean? It was spray painted. He bought a $3 can of spray paint and spray painted it on the thing. You know, like, you have to understand where people start out. You know, people don't want to look at the Steve Jobs and there's 10 fucking years of grinding and eating shit in a garage, while people are like, what the fuck is a personal computer in the first place? What are those? We use paper and tablet. You know, they're still using beads to do accounting and shit. What the hell is this thing? But you know, you see these people, nobody wants to look at like their grind to get there, how long it took of just sticking with the script. People look at Kanye. Kanye's got $6.6 billion, the richest black person in the fucking world. Why you gotta separate him from black and white, I have no fucking clue. But the bottom line is, that's what they're giving him for a title right now. Richest, billions. But people don't realize, like, Kanye, oh my God, he's already got $1 billion. It's like, yeah, he's been famous for 20 fucking years. People forget that. It's been 20 years. 20 years since Jay-Z did The Blueprint. Maybe more than 20 years. 20 fucking years. Famous. People are like, how did you get $1 billion? Yeah, that's 20 years of grinding and sticking to it, you know? So you've got to really like start looking at, stay persistent, stay consistent. Anybody who's winning in the game, or you ever see winning in your field where you're trying to win in, look at how long they've been around. Look at when they started. Nobody started out from nothing and got there in one day. You know, and if there was a couple, it's few and far between. The majority, you got to eat some shit, man, for a long, long time. You know, so start eating shit and be patient. It's going to be a long, long time.
Delayed gratification. It takes time for these things, for you to achieve the things you want. Character, the definition of character, following through on a decision long after the initial excitement and anticipation fades away. keep
Much
going.
like me making beats, I'm over it. Like, but I know how to do. I know how to. I'm very good at it. But I'm like, I'm not excited about it. I just know I got to get X amount of them done. Will you get an inspirational beat that makes you feel like you want to rap on it? For sure, because I know the formula. But I'm not like just rubbing the walls, going, yeah, I can't wait. You know, when I get in here, eventually, if it turns out dope, I'm like, yeah, that's so dope. You know, but for the most part, it's just I got to get in there and get it done.
Doing the right things consistently and long enough. Recap real quick. What are the right things? If doing the actions make you feel good, do the right things. Long enough. How long is long enough? Well, I mean that's just
But one thing just to not get caught up in every detail and like the words you're saying. Don't hang on every one of his words. When he says thing that makes you feel good, he's meaning at the beginning, because after a certain amount of time, it's not gonna make, like he said, the excitement goes away. Like, it might not make you feel good anymore, but you got to stick with it long enough to get it to a point where you bridge to the point where it does make you feel good again.
and then consistently, which is going to be different for everybody, but obviously as often as possible. Doing the right things consistently, long enough, will equal you achieving the things you want. Matter of fact,
What's funny is most of the time, if you just stick with it long enough, you'll be there, whatever that is. Most of the time, whatever that is, because I can tell you this: I didn't make it to whatever I'm trying to do now because I gave up at some point. You know, I gave, as much as I never gave up the dream in my head, I gave up taking action on that. And that is equal to giving up on the dream. Because I gave up on the action. I was there, Snoop Dogg, all the bullshit accolades. And I gave up the action. In my head, I was like thinking I'm still in the game because I still believe. But I'm not doing the things that need to be done. I'm not staying consistent and persistent with the actions that harmonize with my dream. I stopped the thing. It's too full. There is a training balance, regardless of what percentage is what. There's still two parts of that: your belief system and the action you take that harmonizes with that. And if you don't do one or the other, you're fucked. You've got to do both. Period. You can't sit there and fucking wish for a star. That's just not happening. And find me the guy that just wished for a star, and they'll say that shit. And then you go, oh yeah, well, let's not talk about. I don't want to talk about the 16 hours of days and where I didn't sleep. Like you're like, okay, so now if you had not done any of that shit, you would not have been there. So like, bottom line is, Kanye West and become a genius level producer other than spending 16 hours a day to get that dope. You know what I mean? His 10,000 hours plus to get that dope. Same thing with every guitarist and rock star. I'm not as dope as I am at beats and all this other shit. I spent my 10,000 hours 10 times over. Like to get good to where now it's boring to make beats because it's so predictable. Like the bottom line is like I spent my time. That's the only reason I can actually deliver on the shit I'm doing. So consistency is massive. There's a balance. You got to have your belief system right, but if your actions fail, like I said, I gave up action wise. Mentally, I got stuck thinking I was still there because I believed. Because at some point I would pick up the slack. At some point I would pick up the ball. And I did, and I am there now. But man, I cannot deny that I wouldn't be somewhere much further had I not picked up that ball 4 years ago. That this Rob right now might be sitting in a yacht doing this podcast. So it's something to be said about stick with the action that harmonizes with your belief system.
Yeah.
Because what's funny is a lot of people don't have a failed belief system. They have the right belief system. They don't have the action side of it. Me, I'm a weird one. I had a failed belief system. I mean, I believed in myself, but I hadn't really nurtured that angle of it, and I did a lot of action. But your belief is your compass. And if you don't know where the fuck you're going exactly because you don't take the right necessary beliefs and that structure of it, it's going to be tough because you're going to be kind of doing action in circles. You don't have a strategy. It's like the best football player on earth. If there's not a good coach with a good plan, he's just running routes like a fucking madman, and he can't catch a ball because they don't strategically planning because they don't know what the fuck their goal and vision are. So it's rare that you find a person like me who's all action and no belief, or not the correct belief system. But most of you guys have a good belief system. Make your action harmonize with that consistency, persistently, and have some patience to be persistent. You got to stick with it. Persistent people have patience, believe it or not. They seem impatient because they're persistent. God, that's a persistent motherfucker. He's constantly on my ass about. It's like, no, they're patient. That's why they just keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming, and they'll never quit. There's patience involved. So you got to stick with it. Stick with it long enough. Have patience. Be consistent. Be persistent. And you'll be there. Enough patience and enough of that, you'll be there. That formula, that trifecta, will get you there. You do it long enough, and you're bound to fucking be there. If you're consistent on your actions that harmonize and are going in the right direction, the right actions for long enough, you can make it to do anything on the fucking planet. I guarantee it. You stick with it long enough, it's bound to happen. It's only now that I start seeing people reaching out to me going, hey, man, your beats are dope. Hey, man, well, hit me up. Like, I don't have to hit people up no more. They're hitting me up. Hey, man, that's just dope. Hey, what's like, and the next thing you're like, well, it's X amount of dollars. Oh, no problem, man. Oh, shit. So, like, you're just coming to me to buy shit now? I used to have to go pay people to fucking find you to sell you something. You know, so stick with something long enough. And it'll happen. You know, I'm going to stick with beats long enough. Drake's going to call me. It's going to happen. And I'm going to get my shot. But I'm already going to make millions before that. So I care, but like Will says, but not that much. So or Kevin Trudeau, whatever you want to say. But, you know, but not that much. You know, like, I mean, I care, but I'm not. It's not going to make or break me, but it's going to happen. You know what I mean? My wife might massage my hip tonight because it hurts. I kind of care, but not that much. She does it, she doesn't. I don't give a shit. I get some ibuprofen in the freaking cupboard. Screw it, you know? So again, stick with whatever the script is, and you'll be there. Whatever that is. And I know it because I decided to only do that for the last, it's almost been a year now. Fuck, it's, what month is it? Is it March right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, it's April. So it's April today. It's my mom's birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. So it's April 30th. It will be 1 fucking year since I left my job. So in 29 more days, it'll be a whole year. Sticking with it, I see a lot more things opening up for me, you know. I can't believe I made it a whole year. Fucking grinding. So it's you know, I just went to California last weekend, and it was like $200 lunches and crazy shit. You know, kind of thinking that would normally fuck people up. You come back, no problem. Plane ticket, cars, hotel rooms, and all that shit. A whole fucking year. That's pretty dope. So yeah, no, it's a big thing, man. A whole year of grinding and and doing it, and I'm starting to see things open up. But it took that long to even start to see these things show any fucking signs of fruit. And you've spent so much money, but you just got to stick with that. Stick with it. And that's where I'm at. And my one thing that helps hold me to it, like I said, I've seen things I've had and processed that I've decided to say fuck it and wipe my hands of, and realize now that they would be big. And if you stick with your shit long enough and don't do that, it's only a matter of time. I mean, everyone knows there was nobody doing free beats 20 years ago when I was doing it, or 15 years ago, whatever, 16 years ago. Nobody was doing that. And then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 years ago, they started doing it, and those guys blew up. But I would have been at the forefront of that shit. But I backed out of it, and I had it rocking. All to save me $20 some odd a month. Pathetic.
I kind of don't have anything else to say on that. Do the right things consistently and long enough.
All right, guys. So like, comment, subscribe. I don't know if you've seen the last show, Daily Checkoff Sheet. That stuff's evolving. Get your free copy of that. Links in the description. Just drop your email in there. We'll send it to you.
Somebody's coming here real soon.
Yeah, audio versions of it. But you'll be able to get that and then check it out. It'll help you start your day correctly, especially if you have big goals in mind. Getting your mind right in the morning and gearing yourself up to approach it correctly is awesome. I've gotten to the point, and I'm just going to jump on this for a couple minutes. I've gotten to the point where I kind of automatically do it now. But there's days I fail, which are more than not, believe it or not, which is not good. So I got to keep focusing, and that's being consistent, persistent. But like I woke up at 3 this morning, and I was pretty upset because I want to get some sleep because I get up at 5. And I'm like, man, that's 2 hours early, man. I'm going to be dead today. I'm like, well, fuck it. Let's get up, shower, get downstairs, get some coffee, start watching my Hip Hop Evolution thing, get my business stuff done that I got my little business, get that stuff cracking, get it done, get it out of the way, and then start cracking on my sync licensing. But my point is, like, I already know how to start my day off in a positive manner. Like, hey, man, you're a winner, man. Now you're up early. This is the vibe, dude. Get up early. Let's keep grinding. Like, you want to get up at 5. You want those 2 extra hours of sleep. Hey, man, you might have to take a nap in the middle of the day. Screw it. I didn't. I got more stuff done than I've gotten done in a long time. But I'm able to start my day off positively already because I start off with like a daily blast is what you'll notice in there. In fact, this daily checkoff sheet is chock full of value. Like, it should just be the checkoff sheet, but Will's got mad amounts of extras in there. That daily blast, that's where I start off my day. Hey, man, gratitude. You're awesome. You've achieved this. I break down all the stuff I've been able to do. I have my own modified, and you guys will all modify it to what caters to what you're doing. But it starts off with letting yourself know you're king, you're a god, you're the best thing to happen. Like, you're gonna achieve some major shit. He's got the daily blaster. I start my day off like that. That helps me start to gear my day out and really start working it. So, something to be said about like doing that. Check it out. Link in the description. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'll let you know when's happening. Typically Thursdays, 8 o'clock. But you hit that notification bell. If we decide to do one random,
comment, give us some topics.
Yeah, comment. Let us know if it sucks or it's good, or like, hey, this is great, but I don't like how much you cuss, or hey, this is great, but I wish I could see Will. Or, hey, this is great, but, that guy Rob sits too far back and it starts to get blurry. Like, it could be anything. Or, hey, this is great, but I wish it was red, not blue. Like whatever your thing is, hopefully it's something better than those comments, because none of those add value for people. But, like, maybe some other content. I mean, realistically, it sounds like we're repeating ourselves through the podcast, but realistically, it's so advanced, it's simple. So it isn't that hard. to where we're going to be able to go on 500 versions of the same thing, unless we still try to like dissect some minor ass thing and turn it into a bigger thing. But it is so advanced, it's simple. It is not overly complicated. So you will hear us repeat ourselves into vision boards and to getting yourself up mindset. You know, a lot of this stuff is going to regurgitate, repeat, and then we're just going to chop it up and hash it out and trying to find a different angle on that same angle we've already hit 15 times before. But you know what's great, guys, is I know you're not watching the full 2 hour thing or the full hour thing, however long it happens to be for you. So it's not repetitive because you obviously, you know, have to watch hours of it for it to become like, oh, I've heard that before. It's like, now when we do the frequency control clips, it'll start to be repetitive because then you'll be able to get these very specific topics. But realistically, again, it's so advanced and simple. It's not going to change. For instance, I have 100 and I think it's 150 books now that I've gone through of the same type of material. So you don't just have some guy who's just talking this shit. I've done my research. I've my due diligence. And I live the life of that. I live, eat, shit, and sleep this. And I'm putting it in place in my life. I'm actually applying it everywhere I am in my life. So, but the big thing is like 150 books in, the shit's all the same after the first book. It's another angle on the same shit, and then another angle on the same shit, another on the same. None of it's changed. So I got 150 books that say the same fucking thing. You know, they just write it 50. In fact, half of it's not even different. So 90% of it's the same. Exactly, it might as well be the same writer. So it's the same concept, same vibe. It's not. I mean, shit isn't like, you know, hell. It's I don't even know. It's like me trying to. Like it's not even as extensive as a language. It's just a small little thing in your mindset, and it's not a whole bunch of layers. Like it's very simple.
People still don't get it.
Yeah, still don't get it. So that's why we'll tell you 50 different ways. So we'll keep having the same conversation we had one way, but maybe we didn't articulate it well enough. And so we'll articulate it again. And we choose to keep bringing this stuff up because it's like, hey, if we articulated it good enough the first time for you to be like, what the fuck, they're saying it again, then we did our job. Because we were able to articulate it correctly. And, you know, we keep repeating it because I just don't feel that we articulated it good enough because we're only getting good at articulating it. We're just researching the information. Are we good at teaching the information? That's a whole nother deal. So we're going to keep doing it until it just seems like we beat down that freaking horse, you know. But we're on this subject. We're a niche subject.
Plus, we're living it too. You know, we're
living it. And you know what's funny is it's repetitious in our life because when you think you know it, you all of a sudden don't apply it, and then you got to relive it and you got to read it again, and then eventually.
I am always a student of this material. I can never get enough.
A student of it is different than being an executor of it. So just because you study football plays and you watch all the football in the world, if you don't apply it in an actual game, I mean, you're just a student. So we're students, but we're not teachers yet. You know, so we're trying to teach, and so you'll hear us repeat and repeat and repeat until we can teach it to where it may be said 100 ways, and people that all learn different ways, hopefully we hit everybody. And again, comment. Hey, I've heard this shit before, and we know you didn't because there's no comment. But at some point, or not enough views, but we know at some point, you know, this might be a year from now, you might be that person who binge watch this shit and say, hey man, I've seen that shit. You keep saying the same thing. Like every 3 podcasts, you're talking about the dream board. You know, like it's like, you know, but we're obviously just dropping the front load of value first, and you know, when you guys hop on, you're just gonna have a whole ocean of value to swim around in, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out. Happy Thursday, April Fools.